Alright, let's get another game started here. It's another skirmish mode game. It's one-on-one, it's no teams. So what I'm going to do here is, instead of fighting on land, I'm going to switch it over to a more water type arena. So it's mixed. So there's water. So this isn't an all water level. See, as you can see here, there's some land, and then there's terrain that has water in it, but the water is not that deep. So as you can see, it's mixed. Here are my opponents here. They're starting off with the Shipyard. And I'm starting off with the Amphbots. So I do not believe... Well, before we go to that, let's just do the commander here. And now the Amphbot Factory. Yeah, I've used it before, but it's more critical to use them on the ocean levels or the water mixed levels, because they have certain abilities that can be used. You see there's the duck. Let's see what they've got going on here. Yeah, see, they're just building more little ships, but not too much going on. The reason why I picked the easy level is because I'm still not... This has gone back to the original Total Annihilation days for me. With these water levels, I struggle a little bit with the sea combat, especially when it comes to building the ships. That's the reason why the Amphbots are a great first thing to get when you're fighting on these sea levels here. So those two that you saw there is the Hunter. It's a torpedo raider ship. So I'm just going to start highlighting units here. This is the Buoy. The Buoy works. This is the reason why I wanted to do a sea level 2, because it has a submerged... See right here, you can see it's standing here. It's standing on the mixed sea area, so it's not floating yet. I'll point it out when we get through to the later parts. And here you can see I'm using the tidal generators / wind generators. You can see they're using their little torpedo raider ships to come and attack me. Now, one thing to point out here on these sea levels is that you can build all of your defenses pretty much on the water. So not deep into the water, but as you can see, the terrain with the land on it. The missile towers, the pickets, can be built all over the water, I do believe. We'll check that in later videos. Also, I'm thinking about cutting some of these videos in half, because I've been looking at my analytics. Let's highlight some more units. The Mariner. This construction ship actually builds faster than any of the other construction units that you can build from any factory in the game, because you can't build a commander with a factory. In the old Total Annihilation games, you could build a fake commander. I believe oh no, it's called a decoy commander. So the decoy commander, when that commander got destroyed, the game would not end because it wasn't the real commander. That was like late game stuff. But yeah, see here I'm pointing out the grids. So here, it doesn't matter which generator you pick or which metal extractor you pick, it will still show you the grid. And as you can read there, it also shows how much when there's excess energy to be used, that's what overdrive is in this game for the metal extractors. So you see that E there, it's pointing over to the metal. And that's how much metal is being added. Here's the archer. I really don't use the archer too much in combat in this game, but in later games you may see the archer make more of an appearance. I more lean on the buoys and the ducks for the most part. And as you can see, I moved over from it too quick. You'll get to see it later, but it's really cool. Like, these Amphbots have certain abilities when they're underwater versus when they're just on the semi-land. And see, those torpedo raiders are not giving up. But as you can see here, they're getting towards my heavier stuff. Those light ships are not very strong. That's why I say if you're a beginner and you're fighting at sea and the map is not too big, because this map's not, it's a medium-sized map, but a beginner can use Amphbots and survive. Here we go. This is a better example. So you see the grid, that's how much energy is being produced, and you can see that almost 2 metal is being added to that. So that's crazy. Here we go. I'm adding my second factory, which is actually very early. I do urge you in this game to not build factories excessively within the first 10 minutes of the game. After 10 minutes is fine for you to build your second factory. My economy is semi-stable if you look up at the top, but the metal is still kind of lacking. There's excess energy, but the metal's lacking. So if your metal's lacking, it's going up now, but when your metal's lacking, you do not want to build a second factory in the first 10 minutes of the game. That is not a pro tip, that's a beginner tip for sure. Now I'm starting to level up my defenses as well. Yeah, in this game I'm going to focus on both sides, but I'm going to focus more on mine. So it looks like I'm about to start a raid here, but it's just with these ducks. So the ducks are the just regular raider bot. It's just like any other, I forget what they call cloak bots. It's just like any other cloak bot. It's just water based. That's it. So here we go. And yeah, see, when they're in groups, they can destroy pretty quickly. But their weapon changes. So their weapon changes. Their weapon used to be different. So the weapon changed. Before, the duck was a missile bot. Oh, and you see they just got wiped out. But they used to be missile bots. But they were changed to be torpedo. So when you're at sea, they're a torpedo bot. But when you're on land, they're a missile bot. But their rate of fire is still the same. The weapon still pretty much looks the same. So what you want to do with the ducks is you don't want to use them against ships you want to use them against the submarines that get sent after you. It is very, very important for you to have torpedo armed units on this stage or any other sea level. And there we go. There is my Mariner. So I'm going to highlight some of these units again, despite the fact that I may have highlighted them for the other team. So here it is. It's your blueprint for your sea battles. You want to have an Amphbot Factory, and you want to build a shipyard, I would say after 10 minutes, because ships in this game are pretty expensive. That's why I'm recommending that you build the Amphbot Factory first, because the Amphbot Factory will not cost you as much in the long run. See how my economy is like going down like big time? I'm at plus 27.5 metal, but minus 67. So I'm about 40 metal in the hole right now with these ships being built. This is a bulkhead. I'm starting to upgrade my Amphbots too. Yeah, the Amphbot units are probably the deepest unit from a basic factory that you could have in this game. For sure. Like, there's no other way. So we're going to follow another raid here. And this time, I may be able to give you guys a better example of what these Amphbots can do when water is involved. So when you see them in those dark blue patches, those are the ones without land. So they're walking on the surface of the sea. There's Siren, that's the destroyer. I'm going to highlight their units too. There it is. That one is a good ship. That one, see, with the sea units are cool to use because a good majority of them use two weapons. So with that Mistral that I highlighted, that's being highlighted there at the bottom, that one cannot defend itself against subs. So it can only fire at Amphbots and ships. See, he's hovering his ships. And see, I'm being attacked here. And I didn't even notice it because I was trying to do the raid. And I'm being attacked by this Envoy. So it's an artillery cruiser. But I'm going to show you here the bad thing about the artillery cruiser. And that is it can be torpedoed. So the ducks aren't good against heavier ships, but against a ship like the Envoy that is virtually defenseless once you start chasing it because it's a long range unit, it's an easy kill. See, I was leading the raid on along. Now I have more ships. So I have Mistrals of my own. Yeah, I'm starting to think that if these videos go close to 30 minutes, I'm going to split them in half. If they're over 25 minutes, I'm going to split them up. And I'll split them up in parts. Because see here, we're in the mid game now. It's a good thing about the replay percentage. You can see that we're about 48%. And here we go. There it is. See those buoys right there? Those buoys are submerged. Now they're moving because they're back on the land. But they're going to go back over into the sea. and that's when they get submerged. See? You can even see the splash. Now, when they're submerged like that, their defense is better. So they can stand up to these ships. And they can stand up to rolling up on these shipyards and shooting them up. See, I go straight for their factory. That's a strategy that I employ. It's a beginner strategy, but better nonetheless. The next sea battle that I'm going to do, I'm not going to do it on easy mode. Because I've been playing this game long enough and I've long graduated from it. See how those buoys are still alive? And their rate of fire? And the fact that they're causing damage and slow damage? Look at that. That Siren did not have a chance. So yeah, see, the buoys were floating. Very useful units. The bulkheads float too. See, they just sit there and they float. See, I zoomed in there. See, so you can see them floating. That's the cool part about this game that makes it extremely superior to Total Annihilation, is the fact that you can zoom in like that and be able to see what the units are doing and what they can do. So I'm building up another force here. I'm going to highlight more units. This is going to be a theme in these videos. So here's the Corsair. This is a Corvette unit. So you can see there, it's not effective against underwater units. So you will get that on these sea battles. You need to have either ducks, torpedo launchers as defense, or any other ship or unit that can shoot torpedoes. They will do you justice against heavier ships that can't defend themselves, long-range units, subs, and even the commander in the end, which I will show you. Yes, the commander can submerge themselves in the water too. So at the end of the game, if you only have ships, or this one, we'll get back to that, but here's the Grizly. I believe I've shown that one before. Very impressive unit. So its weapon can't fire underwater. So it's an assault walker. I will definitely point that out. So I'm thinking before I release this video, I'm going to rewatch it and put in timestamps. I think that would help with my viewership. Here's my Siren. So it's a destroyer. Its area of effect, it's long range and short range, and it's anti-sub. So Sirens are very useful. They're useful in numbers, but they're not very strong in defending themselves against heavier fire. So you want to mix heavier units with those, because if you do, the game's AI, every unit in this game has AI. Its AI will automatically use its long range weapons instead of running into wherever or whatever they're going to. So the Sirens are useful. You just need to make sure that they have other units around them that can defend them. If you don't have that, the CPU or a human player in a multiplayer game is going to make quick work out of it. The key for you in this game especially these sea battles, you need to protect all of your units, especially the ones that are costly, like the construction ships, Grizlies, heavier battleships, which we don't get into in this game. It doesn't go on long enough. Yeah, because the battleships they're extremely expensive. They're like building Striders, and the Striders do, in most cases, take some time. So here's another attack. Those Mistrals are not very effective against the Amphbots. That is another thing in this game. You're going to have to, through trial and error, find out which units are good to fight against the other ones. Now, see, once the buoy is not submerged, it suffers from the damage. But these units are promoted because they've been in battle. That one got destroyed. It should have backed up. The other one did. But if you see those little stripes, that means that they're battle-tested units. So, Riot Bot. So that one has 2 weapons. You'll see that's a theme with these sea battles, and you have to pay attention to what weapons is which. Moving my ships because I am going to attack with the ships. I'm going to bring the Grizlies with. Going to bring some Corsairs along. Yeah, I really want to show off these ships and the Grizly. Especially the Grizly. The Grizly is a crazy unit. And in the past, when I played this game about 4 years ago, when I actually first started playing it, the Grizly was faster. So they totally slowed the Grizly down. There were a couple of units in this game that were super fast and powerful. And it was almost like you had no way to beat those units because of that. When I first started playing this, I got really discouraged because even the AI in the beginning, when you don't know how to work with the streamlined economy, it's tough. Yeah, this game is tough to play. So you have to learn the economy. You have to look up at that metal and energy, and you have to look and see, is the green more than the red? Because if the green's more than the red, that means that your economy's on the up and up. That means that you don't have to worry about commanding building units because you have a queue. You can lead your units that you should have already had built at about 20 something minutes through the game. So now I'm just playing around. I'm just going to upgrade my commander a couple of times just to show you guys. And even the appearance of the commander changes just ever so slightly when it gets upgraded. I'm going to zoom in. Yeah, it looks like Optimus Prime now. That's the engineer commander. I'm going to upgrade again. So I'm going from 2 to 3. The upgrade generally doesn't take that long, but it weighs on your resources. So you can see down at the bottom where I just highlighted there, 16 metal and 14 energy is being magically sucked away because the commander is upgrading. But when you upgrade your commander, the build speed's faster. As you see with the level 3 commander, He builds at 16 milliseconds now. So the default build is 5. And the default build for the commander, I believe, is 10. Maybe 7. I'll have to check on that. I do believe it's 10. There's the buoys. They're submerging themselves again. And their range is pretty decent. So now I have a level 4 engineer commander. So I'm just going to stop playing around here. We're going to go get these guys with these ships. Watch the Corsairs. They're not heavy in armor, but they're a good shot. And you can see the Sirens are hanging back. And I've got the Envoy as well. So they're going to get touched up over here right now. Now he's walking his commander over towards my ships. So my ships can hit his commander. It's interesting. Yeah, these can. The Sirens have torpedoes. So the Sirens are effective units. They're just not heavy in armor. That's what really sucks about these ships. And that is the reason why I don't play too many sea battle levels in this game. But yeah, my economy's doing good. So it's a good time to end it. I'm going to do... Oh, look at that Grizly. Did you see that shot? Man, the Grizly... It is. That unit is appropriately named. I know they named it to be like a big bear, which is kind of what it looks like. But look at that shot. Those lasers just straight tear into any unit that it shoots at. It's crazy. And when you have multiple, some of them hold their fire until after the other one shoots. So you're getting simultaneous shots. And the Grizly's reload time is quick. It is quick. It's super quick. For a unit as powerful as the Grizly is, that reload time is super duper fast. So we're winding down to the end here. We're just going to ride it out because I don't believe there are any more units for me to point out in this game. I'll do more next time after I rewatch this video and see what units I've used. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to take notes on what units I've used in certain games so that I can be able to showcase other units and also learn how to use other units. Because there are some units in this game that I avoid using because I just don't know how to use them. I'm just gonna be honest about that. And with a game like this that has as many units as it does is understandable. Even in the old Total Annihilation games, I only used like a handful of units because I was familiar with using them. There's this construction ship. I thought that was his last one, but you can see his commander's running over there. So he's pretty much done. This game's over. So you guys let me know in the comments if you would prefer for me to split these videos up and put in timestamps for units that I need to introduce. Until then, I'm just gonna let this ride out, guys. There we go. Like, comment, subscribe, show some love. 0K, baby.